Tyler Robinson has been charged with aggravated murder and other related felony offenses arising from the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk during a public event at Utah Valley University in September 2025. Robinson has entered a plea of not guilty. This is a preliminary hearing. The court is not deciding whether the defendant is guilty or innocent. Instead, the judge must determine whether prosecutors have presented sufficient evidence to establish probable cause for the case to proceed to trial. Over the course of this hearing, the prosecution is expected to call investigators, law enforcement officers, forensic specialists, and other witnesses while introducing physical, digital, and scientific evidence gathered during the investigation. The defense will have the opportunity to challenge that evidence through cross-examination and legal argument, but is not required to present its own witnesses at this stage. At the conclusion of the hearing, the judge will decide whether the charges should be bound over for trial. If so, the case will continue through additional pretrial proceedings before eventually reaching a jury.
Want to get the train on the track here. All right, Ms. Hunt.
The state calls Agent Brian Davis.
Agent Davis, if you would like to come forward and be sworn in.
You do solemnly swear that the testimony you shall give in the case now pending before the court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
All right, Agent, if you wouldn't mind having a seat. To your left is a water bottle. And after you're seated, you'll have to adjust that microphone, pull it down, and then pull it toward you to ensure that it is picking up your voice and we have a good record. All right, Ms. Hunt, your witness.
If you could please state your name and spell your last for the record.
Yeah, it's Brian Davis, Davis.
What is your occupation?
I'm an agent with the Utah State Bureau of Investigation.
How long have you been with, is it fair to call that the SBI?
Correct, yes.
How long have you been with the SBI?
A total 18 years.
I want to briefly go over your experience as a law enforcement officer generally. Actually, are you a law enforcement officer in that capacity?
Yes, correct.
How long have you been a law enforcement officer?
A total of 27 years.
You mentioned you were with SBI for 18, is that right?
Correct, yep.
What other agencies were you with prior to SBI?
So Department of Public Safety, I've been a state trooper for 8 years, 18 years with SBI, and 1 year with Utah Transit Authority Police.
We've heard talk from other officers about POST. What is POST?
It's Peace Officer Standards and Training.
Did you complete that?
I did.
What year did you complete that?
1999.
Is that a type of certification that you hold?
Yeah, it's a statewide certification that any peace officer in the state of Utah, local, state, county, all go through to become a certified peace or police officer.
Has that certification lapsed or been any gaps in that time since you received it in 1999?
No, it's been constant since then.
I want to talk about a bit about your training and experience within law enforcement. What roles have you had at SBI?
I began as a call enforcement team. We did covert and overt operations. I was assigned to an ATF, the PSN task force, focusing on violent felons with guns and drugs. I was on a FBI task force, Safe Streets. It was a gang violent crime task force. I was on the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Apprehension Team task force. I've been on several different OICI protocol teams, Officer Involved Critical Incident teams around the state of Utah and within SBI. I've been on dozens of those scenes. And within major crimes of SBI, I've been, we've worked a variety of cases. I work anything from violent crime, homicides, sex crimes, drug crimes, firearm crimes, white-collar crime, fraud. I was also on a task force with a FBI Public Corruptions Task Force as well.
Was that all on-the-job training, or did you receive specific training or conferences, things like that?
Yeah, throughout the years, various trainings, conferences for in all those capacities over the years.
You mentioned you've been a part of homicide investigations.
Yes.
Can you estimate how many?
My best guess would be 60 plus, where I've had some involvement. I also currently work on a cold case unit within SBI, so we consult with agencies around the state of Utah, and I've probably consulted on over 50 of those as well in various capacities and roles.
Have you received training specific to homicide investigations?
Yes, I have.
What types of things have you been trained on in that regard?
Just several different times, week-long course training conferences on homicide, from case studies to how to manage a case. Also, I've been on several trainings with like crime scene investigation. I'm a Faro certified. It's a 3D Faro scan of crime scenes.
What's a Faro scan?
It's a 3D laser imaging that's used pretty commonly on crime scenes. It just accurately documents crime scenes. And I've been on, I've been certified as a forensic interview in the forensic interview technique with more child victims. So just various trainings like that.
You mentioned currently you're a part of the cold case team within SBI.
Correct.
Have you been assigned as part of the investigation into the homicide of Charlie Kirk?
Yes.
And what is your role? Do you have a specific role in that investigation?
Yes, I was assigned to be a case agent along with Agent Dave Hull.
What does it mean to be a case agent?
Essentially, you manage the case, responsible for it. Ultimately, you direct the case as you go along. You make assignments as needed. Ultimately, everything comes back to you, like in the form of reports, evidence, and such. And then ultimately, you screen that case, if applicable, to the appropriate county attorney or DA.
You mentioned that you are a co-case agent or were with Agent Hull. Is it typical to have two case agents on a case?
It can be especially on a large case, yes.
Has this particular case been large?
Yes, it has.
Have other police agencies been involved in the investigation of this case?
Yes.
Who has been designated as the primary investigative agency?
The State Bureau of Investigation is the primary investigating agency.
I know there are probably several or dozens, but what other agencies have you been working with?
FBI, ATF as well, several local state agencies, UVU Police, Orem Police, Utah County Sheriff, Washington County Sheriff, St. George PD, most of all the agencies within Utah County and even others outside of the county. So we've worked with a lot of agencies with this case. It was a pretty large scale investigation.
You mentioned ATF. What does that stand for?
Alcohol, tobacco, firearms.
All right. I know a lot about so as a case agent, have you been in court during this preliminary hearing?
Yes.
You've heard prior testimony?
Yes.
We've talked a lot about the events of September 10th of 2025. I want to direct your attention to September 11th, 2025. Do you remember that day?
I do.
What happened on that day in relation to your investigation?
I spent the day at the command post with various assignments. That evening, it was about 8:30 p.m., I believe, of the 11th. I received a phone call from Sergeant Elsholz requesting that I travel to St. George.
Who is Sergeant Elsholz? What agency is Sergeant Elsholz with?
With SBI.
And he requested that you travel to St. George?
Correct.
What was the reason stated for that?
We received information that an individual was turning himself in or was going to turn himself in to police in regard to his involvement with the incident, the shooting on UVU campus.
And I'm sorry, what time did you get that information, that call?
About 8:30 p.m.
Did you travel down to St. George?
I did.
On what day?
Of September 11th.
Did anyone else go with you?
Yes, so we traveled to the Salt Lake City Airport to a hangar there, and we were flown down on a fixed-wing aircraft. It was Sergeant Elsholz, was Agent Folger with FBI, Agent Anderson with FBI, Ryan McBride, and myself, and the 2 pilots
And who is Ryan McBride?
with the Utah County Attorney's Office.
What time did you arrive in St. George?
We landed probably about 11:30 p.m. at the St. George Airport.
And again, this would be the evening of September 11th, 2025?
That's correct.
Where did you go once you landed in St. George?
There we were transported via ground to the Washington County Sheriff's Department.
Did you coordinate at that time with any other law enforcement agencies down in southern Utah?
Oh, we did.
You did?
We did, yeah.
What other agencies?
Well, with FBI, as we were traveling, and then along with mainly the Washington County Sheriff's Department, we also have agents within SBI assigned to the southern Utah area. So working with them as well, just making plans and coordinating resources and manpower and personnel.
And you stated you went to the Washington County Sheriff's Office.
Yes.
What time did you arrive there?
Probably somewhere close to midnight, maybe just a little bit before midnight of the 11th.
What happened next?
So we met several other investigators, agents, and detectives there, along with some other prosecutors. There were some federal prosecutors as well that were present. And from there, we began kind of making plans, determining how to handle the situation there.
You mentioned the reason you went down there was you had been told that an individual wanted to turn themselves in.
That's correct.
Did you observe that individual?
I did.
And where was that person at the time?
So when we arrived, we went into the room that we were in. It was one of their office, the cubicles there. On the wall, there was a television monitor where I viewed an individual on that screen that was sitting in one of the soft interview rooms. That room was equipped with audio video recording device, and so I observed him on that screen at that time.
Were you aware, or did you become aware what time that individual arrived at Washington County Sheriff's Office?
I was told he arrived there about 9 p.m. that evening.
And was he with anybody else?
He'd come there with his parents and a family friend.
Did you speak with this individual that we've been talking about?
Yes, I did.
Did you get his name?
Yes, we obtained his name and date of birth.
What was his name?
Tyler Robinson.
Did he tell you that himself?
He did.
You mentioned other individuals came there with him. And then you also said that you had kind of coordinated with the team of law enforcement officers that were there. Were those other individuals spoken with by law enforcement?
They were.
Let's go through them. How did that happen? Who was spoken to first of the other individuals?
So Tyler's mother was interviewed by SBI agent Holgreen and FBI agent Cox. And then kind of simultaneously, his father was being interviewed by SBI agent Terry and FBI agent Smith. And also at that time, the family friend Mike Mitchell was interviewed by other agents as well.
And you said that these interviews were being conducted simultaneously?
Yes.
Were you part of the interview with either of Tyler's parents?
Yes. Yes, myself and Agent Folger. Did I misspeak earlier? Myself and Agent Folger interviewed the mother.
All right, let's make sure the record's clear on that. So Agent Folger, what agency is he with?
With FBI.
And yourself interviewed Tyler's mother?
Yes, that's correct.
I just want to make sure the record's clear. Who interviewed Tyler's father?
Yeah, I think I might have misspoke. It was Agent Holgreen, Agent Cox that met with his father.
And then who spoke with family friend Mike Mitchell?
Agent Terry, Agent Smith.
Down in St. George, Washington County Sheriff's Office, was Mr. Robinson detained at that time?
Yes, he was.
Was he formally arrested at that time?
Yeah, after all the interviews were completed, when we talked to everybody, he was formally arrested at that time.
And I'm going to come back to that in a second. Excuse me, where did the arrest take place?
At the Washington County Sheriff's Office.
And what date did that happen on?
Would have been September 12th. It was about 4 a.m., I believe, of September 12th.
All right, I want to show just on your screen, not for public yet, what's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit 15. Let me know when you're able to see that.
Okay, it's there.
Before I ask you about that, did you have an opportunity to, you stated that you observed Mr. Robinson at Washington County Sheriff's Office, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Your Honor, could I have a moment with Ms. Hunt? May I have a moment with Ms. Hunt?
You may.
You're just going to do the redacted version. And that may happen a couple more times as we go through exhibits
I
because
understand.
of agreements and disagreements that we have.
Thank you for the heads up.
At Washington County Sheriff's Office, where you initially observed Mr. Robinson, you stated that he was in a room. Is that room equipped with video recording?
Yes, it is.
Is that standard practice for a facility like that to have video recording in such a room?
Yes, very, very common.
Have you reviewed that video?
I have.
And in your review of that video, does it fairly and accurately depict Mr. Robinson at that time?
It does.
You see on your screen what's been marked as State's Exhibit 15. Do you recognize that?
I do.
What is that?
That's the interview in which Mr. Robinson was seated and waiting.
State moves to admit Exhibit 15.
Ms. Hunt, and the other two steps, what's your request?
We would ask to admit it into evidence. We have, defense counsel and I have agreed upon, I guess, redaction of the video, and I would ask to publish it both to the courtroom and to the media.
Mr. Novak?
It's silent, correct? Ms. Hunt?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor, Ms. Hunt is correct. The state had originally proposed a longer image with audio, and we've agreed to a shorter image without audio. And so,
That's correct. Yeah.
so we're fine with all three steps as to this exhibit.
All right. Does the state wish to review this to make sure that what's queued up comports with what you believe? If not, we can move forward. I just want to allow all parties the opportunity to double check.
Let me just confer with my paralegal.
Oh, that's probably right.
It's has no audio, so we would like to admit and publish it at this time.
All right. State's Exhibit 15 is admitted pursuant to discussion and may be published in the courtroom and may be recorded or transmitted electronically. Just
And Your Honor, of course, this is subject to all of the objections which have been previously reserved in writing and reiterated over the last couple of days. I assume that we don't need to start over with that today.
thank you. I appreciate that. I note the standing objection by defense as previously made, and that objection is overruled, and this exhibit is admitted.
And in this case, it wouldn't be the 1102 issues, it would be the electronic media coverage of the proceeding.
Thank you for that clarification, Mr. Novak. I appreciate that. All right, with that, to the media, can you view that screen okay? All right. All right, State's Exhibit 15 may be played.
And Agent Davis, who are we seeing here?
That's Tyler Robinson.
And although we are watching it on video, what is he wearing at this time?
He's working a dark colored baseball cap with has like I believe it's like maybe the Hurley symbol on it, like a white symbol on front. It's a burgundy short sleeve shirt with no graphics. It's blue jeans and gray and white tennis shoes. I believe they're Converse style tennis shoes.
Thank you. Was Mr. Robinson, you stated that he was arrested in the early hours of September 12th, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Did he remain in Washington County Sheriff's Office, or was he taken somewhere else?
No, he was transported from there to the Utah County Jail.
Prior to being transported to the Utah County Jail, was any, I guess, personal property taken from him, clothing, anything like that?
The only thing that was, so prior to like our arriving to the St. George, to the Washington County Sheriff's Office, his cell phone was seized and taken from his person. But that was the only thing that was taken from at that time.
After he was transported to Utah County Jail, were any personal items taken from him?
Yes, they were.
And what were those?
After a search warrant was granted, his clothing was recovered, along with buccal swabs to collect his DNA and major case prints, which is fingerprints, palm prints, pretty much the entire hand. Those are all collected from him.
And sorry, you may have already stated when did he arrive in Utah County?
We arrived at the Utah County Jail about 7 a.m. on the 12th, September 12th, and he was formally booked in at about 8 a.m. of that morning, and then I was the booking officer.
What does it mean to be the booking officer?
I filled out the necessary paperwork essentially with the jail, which gives the individuals personal identification of the charges, the probable cause statement, and then it's signed and submitted to the system.
All right, I want to talk a bit about search warrants, some of the search warrants that were executed in this case. As part of the investigation, were search warrants obtained specifically for areas in southern Utah?
Yes, they were.
And obviously do not give me exact addresses, but generally for what locations?
It was the residence of Tyler Robinson and the residence of his parents.
Were those warrants executed?
They were.
By whom?
The residence of Tyler Robinson was a team led by Sergeant Famawina with SBI, along with the Utah State Crime Lab. And the residence of his parents was a team led by the FBI, their evidence response team.
Are you aware of what date or dates, if applicable, those warrants were executed?
Yeah, September 12th. I believe Tyler's residence, they started the search warrant about 8 o'clock in the morning, and then his parents' residence, they started about 4 p.m. Of September 12th.
So to be clear, you've stated who was involved in executing those warrants. Were you physically present for the execution of either of those warrants?
No, I was not.
Are you aware of whether Mr. Robinson lived with anyone else at that residence at the time?
Yes.
Do you know who that was?
Lance Twiggs.
And we won't get too into it right now. We'll cover this with Sergeant Faumina, but did you receive information from officers involved in those execution of those warrants about what, if anything, had been found?
Yes, I did.
All right, turning to another area. As part of this investigation, you have previously mentioned that a family friend came in initially with the Robinsons. Who was that family friend?
His name was Mike Mitchell.
And who is he in relation to the Robinsons?
So he's a family friend, a good family friend.
And what was his involvement here?
So he helped facilitate working with Tyler and his parents with the sheriff's department for Tyler to turn himself in.
And I believe you mentioned previously that law enforcement conducted an interview with Mr. Mitchell.
They did.
Remind us when that interview occurred.
So that was the early morning hours of September 12th at the Washington County Sheriff's Department.
And I know you've already stated, but remind me who was present for that interview.
That one was Agent Terry and Agent Smith.
What agencies are they with?
Terry's with SBI and Smith is with FBI.
Are you aware if a second interaction or statement was collected from Mr. Mitchell?
Yes, it was.
When did that happen?
It was March 31st of this year.
Who was present at that time?
It was Ryan McBride, Chad Grunander, Kimberly Derfler, and Agent Chris Terry with SBI.
You mentioned Ryan McBride, Chad Grunander, and Kimberly Durfler. What office do they work for?
The Utah County Attorney's Office.
And you mentioned Agent Chris Terry.
Yes.
So you were not present for this collection of this statement.
No, I was not.
Have you communicated with Agent Chris Terry about how this happened?
Yes, I have.
How did this happen?
So all those individuals met with Mike Mitchell at, it was the St. George, well, it was at the St. George Court office, courthouse there. They met and discussed briefly, just kind of talk generally about the situation. From there, Mr. Mitchell was given a handwritten 1102 paper statement, and he left the room, went into a separate office by himself, was there for about an hour where he hand wrote a statement, filled the statement out. When that was complete, he came back into the room where the others were waiting and provided that 1102 statement to them.
We've heard quite a bit about 1102 statements. Sounds like there's an official form that is used. What's present on that form, if you know?
There's an admonition or warning given on those forms that states that the information you're giving is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge, that any false statement that is given or may be given would be punishable by a Class A misdemeanor.
Aside from that being written on the form, are you aware if this admonition was discussed with Mr. Mitchell?
It was.
Do you know by whom?
Yeah, Ryan McBride provided that admonition to him.
And you stated that Mr. Mitchell then went into a separate room for about an hour and wrote his statement down?
Correct.
Did anyone, including prosecutors or law enforcement, direct him what to say?
Foundation, objection. Personal knowledge.
Would you like to respond, Ms. Hunt?
I can lay a little more foundation.
All right, so I'll sustain the objection for now, and Ms. Hunt is moving forward with laying more foundation.
You discussed with Agent Chris Terry about how this statement was obtained?
Yes.
Did he mention anything to you about anyone directing Mr. Mitchell about what to say or what to include in the form?
No, I spoke to him personally and reviewed his report also.
I'm going to show you what's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit 14.1. Let me know when you see that on your screen.
Okay, I see it.
What is that?
This is the written 1102 statement that was provided by Mr. Mike Mitchell.
Your Honor, may I have a minute with Ms. Hunt for the same
You may.
purpose?
All right.
And how do you know that?
I reviewed it. I reviewed it in its original. As soon as it came to us, I've seen it prior. So.
And Kimberly, if I can have you slowly scroll down. Sorry, Judge, if I can just have a moment.
You may.
I apologize, Your Honor. I misspoke. It's not 14.1, it's just Exhibit 14.
Okay.
So if we can place that again on the screen for the witness only. Yes. And sorry, we had been scrolling through that. Do you recognize that?
I do.
Does it depict, is it fair and accurate from what you remember?
Yeah, with the exception of the redactions, yes, it's fair and accurate.
And Judge, I'll make a record. Defense counsel and I have stipulated on the redactions that are present. I would move for its admission, State's Exhibit 14, into evidence, but we do not wish to publish it either to the courtroom gallery or the cameras.
All right, could I have a copy of it? What I have is the unredacted version, so I want to review it before I make that decision.
If I may approach.
You may. Thank you. All right, I've had a chance to review State's Exhibit 14 and noting the standing objections by defense concerning 1102s. The court accepts into evidence State's Exhibit 14 and pursuant to the parties is not published.
Thank you, Judge. All right, I want to move on to another topic. You've stated that you've been present for the duration as the case agent of the preliminary hearing. Is that right?
Yes.
We heard testimony yesterday about turning to the scene at UVU on September 10th, that a bullet was found on a roof. Do you remember that testimony?
I do.
Do you have knowledge about that bullet, what that is about?
Yes, I do.
What roof was that bullet found on?
I believe it was found on the computer science building, on the roof, on the far east side of the roof of the building itself.
How do you know that it was found there?
I reviewed the agent's report that found that, documented it, and collected it.
What agent was that?
It was Agent Ben Schneider with SBI.
Are you aware of where the computer science building is on campus?
Yes.
Can you explain generally where that is located?
Yeah, from where the LOSI building is, it's a building directly kind of south and east of there, from the LOSI.
Southeast from the LOSI building. Where is it in connection to the auditorium section that we've been talking about where Mr. Kirk was stationed?
It's east of there. East and a little bit south, and mostly east.
Would there have been, from that roof of the computer science building, to your knowledge, would there have been a line of sight to Mr. Kirk's tent?
No, not according to the agent. Agent Ben Schneider, there was not a line of sight from there to where the tent was, where Mr. Kirk was.
Did you learn from Agent Snyder what caliber that bullet was?
Yes, I did.
And what was that?
It was a .223 caliber.
What is a live round?
It's a round that had not been fired, so it still had the projectile, and it was a fully functional bullet with ammunition with the bullet.
Did you learn if this .223 bullet found on top of the computer science building was a live round?
Yes.
And how do you know that?
It was still intact. Still had the primer had not been it was not dented, not been fired. It still had the bullet projectile in the end, and still sealed.
Did you observe this bullet personally, or is this information you're getting from Agent Snyder?
From Agent Ben Schneider.
All right, turning to a different topic. And Judge, I'm aware that there are going to be some objections about this that we'll have to address, but I just want to lay a little bit of foundation first before we get there. You've mentioned him already. Are you familiar with an individual named Lance Twiggs?
Yes, I am.
And who is he in regards to this investigation?
He's the roommate of Tyler Robinson.
Was he interviewed as part of this investigation?
He was.
How many times?
2 times.
When was the first time?
The first time was the early morning hours of September 12th, and that occurred at St. George Police Department.
So we've heard of several people coming in and being spoken with at Washington County Sheriff's Office.
Correct.
Mr. Twiggs was spoken with at St. George PD.
Correct.
Do you know who was present for that interview?
It was FBI agents Larson and Agent Ling.
Are you aware of Mr. Twiggs' buccal swab was taken at that time?
I don't recall it happening there. I believe it happened later. I'd have to, but it did occur. That was obtained from him.
Okay. But you're not sure if it happened on the 12th?
I don't recall if it was there or later at his residence, but
ultimately, a buccal swab was obtained from Mr. Twiggs?
Yes, it was.
Do you know if his phone was taken from him?
It was.
When did that happen?
So it was during that interview with FBI at St. George Police Department. They conducted an interview of him, and then he provided his phone. He did it voluntarily also, provided it to those agents.
And that would have been on September 12th, 2025?
Correct.
You mentioned a second interview of Mr. Twiggs?
There was a second interview, yes.
When did that take place?
April 20th of this year.
Where was that?
Happened at the Utah County Attorney's Office.
Who was present at that second interview?
It was Mr. Twiggs with his attorney, Jill Cottrell. It was Lauren Hunt, Sam Peed with the U.S. Attorney's Office, Ryan McBride, Sergeant L. Schulz, well now it's Lieutenant L. Schulz, and myself.
We've talked about 2 interviews of Mr. Twiggs, one on the morning of September 12th, 2025, second on April 20th, 2026. Are you aware if both of those interviews were recorded?
They were.
Have you reviewed those recordings?
I have.
Before Mr. Twiggs' interview on April 20th, 2026, well, first let me ask you this. Are you aware of what use immunity means?
Yes.
What does it mean?
It's a letter that the use of immunity is essentially giving the individual, during the limited time of their statement, they're given that immunity from statements that are made in regard to an incident. But it does not preclude them from prosecution, from evidence that would be known or found then or later outside of that interview. It just gives them that limited immunity during the type of the interview.
Okay, so for any statements made during the interview, they're given immunity for that, but they're not generally prohibited from being potentially prosecuted outside of that interview. Is that fair?
That's my understanding, yes.
Was Mr. Twiggs given use immunity?
Yes, he was.
By what offices?
The Utah County Attorney's Office, as well as the United States Attorney's Office.
You mentioned that both of Mr. Twiggs' interviews were recorded. Have you reviewed those recordings?
Yes, I have.
Do they fairly and accurately depict those interviews?
Yes, they do.
We've talked about 1102 statements. We've talked about a form, and you talked about that there's an admonition on there that warns that if false statements are given pursuant to 1102, then that person may be subject to a Class A misdemeanor. Is that fair?
Yes, that's correct.
Was a similar admonition given to Mr. Twiggs during his second or before his second interview on April 20th, 2026?
Yes, it was.
By whom?
By Ryan McBride with the Utah County Attorney's Office.
And again, you were present for that interview?
I was.
Did Mr. Twiggs say that he understood that admonition?
He did, yep, yes.
Was he told that the April 20th, 2026 interview was being taken in lieu of him having to come and testify at the preliminary hearing?
Yes, it was. Yes, he was.
All right, Judge, I'm aware that defense counsel has objections to this recorded 1102. I think now is probably a good time to address them.
Court is back in session, noting the presence of the parties, all being present. And where we left off is we were the state was looking to confer with defense to ensure that state's exhibits 16, 16.1, 16.2, and 16.3 were shared. Ms. Hunt.
We have reviewed Exhibit 16 with defense, and it comports with the court's order. At this point, we would like to put Agent Davis back on the stand and continue with displaying that, publishing that.
All right, Agent Davis, if you'd like to come forward. I remind you, you're still under oath. If you'd like to have a seat. There should be a water bottle to your left, and after you're situated, if you wouldn't mind adjusting that microphone and bringing it close to you so the record can pick up your testimony. Ms. Hunt, your witness.
And just for the record and the court's benefit, we have made the edits that the court has ordered. We have shown them to defense. Pursuant to the timestamps that the court ordered, we wanted those to be reflected very clearly. So there are sometimes large gaps of just black, empty, silent space. When there are large gaps, we will fast forward. Some of those are short enough that we'll just let it play, if the court is okay with that, with proceeding that way.
Thank you. I appreciate giving a heads up so all parties know what's going on. Thank you, Ms. Hunt.
So at this time, we would move to publish on the monitors State's Exhibit 16.
All right, and to the media, there is a monitor for your benefit right there next to you. For the camera, there is one for that direction as well as for the gallery.
This meeting is to use your statement here instead of your testimony at a preliminary hearing. Understand that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so in order to do that, I need to place you under oath and also give you an admonition about false statements, okay? First, you do solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you shall give in this issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
I also need to notify you that you are notified that statements you are about to make may be presented to a magistrate or a judge in lieu of your sworn testimony at a preliminary examination. Any false statement you make and that you do not believe to be true may subject you to criminal punishment as a Class A misdemeanor. You understand that?
Yes.
It potentially could be used as for punishment as a higher offense as obstruction of justice. In addition, I just want to make sure that our recording here is clear that you've also been given a federal agreement and a state agreement granting you immunity from prosecution for materials that you discuss now. Do you understand that? Mm-hmm. Okay. First, we're going to cover some of the things that you've already talked about, but to make it as part of this record. First, what's your name?
Full name with middle name or just first and last?
First and last is fine.
Okay, my name is Lance Twiggs.
And do you know Tyler Robinson?
Yes, I do. Well, yeah, I do.
And this is the same Tyler Robinson that's been charged with the shooting of Charlie Kirk?
Yes.
And would you say when you first met Tyler?
I think it was 2023. I've known him longer than that, though. That was, I think, the first time I met him in person.
Okay.
And will you describe your relationship with Tyler when you first met him anyway?
When I first met him, I didn't know him super well. He was just a new roommate, so I knew he knew my friend group, and I knew he liked playing games, but that's about it when we first, when he first moved in.
Okay. Before we go on, I realized my mic was muted at the outset. Was yours on, your microphone? Okay. I'm going to repeat those admonitions just to make sure we've got it recorded. Okay, so again, I place you under oath. Just to make a record, I'm going to do it again. You do solemnly swear that the evidence you shall give in this issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
And again, I'm going to give you the false statement admonition.
Sorry, hold on. They're saying that it's echoing, so
I think this one's mic is on.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, you're not on my mic.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so we should be good. All right. Is that mic on?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Sorry.
All right. Okay, sorry about that interruption. All right, so you said when you first met you were roommates?
Yeah.
Okay. And then at some point, your relationship progressed to something more than just roommates, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
When was that?
I think we started dating 2 or 3 months after he moved in.
Okay. And where did you live at that time?
St. George, in an apartment complex.
And is that apartment the same place you lived on September 10th?
Yes.
When you lived there with Tyler, were you in the same room? Did you live in the same room or different rooms?
No, separate rooms.
And at that time, let's say September of 2025, what were you doing with your life? Were you working, school?
I was working. I was doing like bathtub and shower repair and stuff in new construction.
Okay. How about Tyler?
I think he was both working. I think he was working for an electrician company then, and he was also in a trade school for being higher ranking electrician. I'm not sure how the trade system works for that.
Okay.
But yeah, I think he was both.
What was his typical work day like?
I think he'd leave around 7 generally and get back around 3 to 4, depending on where the job was and how long it was for the day. And then on certain days of the week during school, semesters, he would then later in the day, I think around 5 or 6, go to school. Okay. So, yeah.
Okay. Let's jump to September 10th. Did he spend the night in the apartment the night of September 9th into September 10th?
Into September 10th. Yeah, he did. Yes.
Do you know when he left the apartment on September 10th?
I don't know an exact time. I just know he left early. I heard him leaving, and he just said he had a long drive to work that day, so he was leaving early.
Okay, so early. any guess as to what, when that was?
I don't know. I would have thought it was 5 a.m. because that's when like an early work day was for him, but it was probably more like 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna have him spit out his gum just to make sure that
I can do that.
you're
Mind
make
making
sure
sure
right
that-
in front of your laptop.
Here you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so what time did you get up on September 10th?
Probably like 12 to 1 p.m.
You didn't have to work that day.
No.
And did you hear from Tyler? Did he call or text you before then?
No, he sent that message in the group chat I mentioned, but he didn't message me directly at all that day.
Okay. When did you first hear from him on September 10th?
It was at 11 o'clock with that like automated message.
Okay, 11 p.m.
Yeah.
What about, he asks you here, remember how I was engraving bullets? Was he engraving bullets before this?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly when, but he had said he was planning to go hunting with his family, and he asked me for if we had a Dremel because he said he wanted to engrave messages on bullets, and I just told him where our Dremel was and told him to make sure he doesn't set off a bullet on accident in the house, but I didn't really think about it until then.
How long before September 10th was this that he asked about the Dremel?
I don't remember, because he'd been talking about the hunting/camping trip for a couple months, but I don't remember when he was specifically asking to engrave the bullets. So
are we talking like a year before?
Oh no, not that long. It would have been I'd say at most a month before this was when he was asking.
Okay. Right. You talked about the note that he left. I want to bring this up, and I should say that these text messages that we've been looking at here are Bates number 54. Okay. The notes have been titled 16.3 with a note, and this is Bates number 58. Do you recognize that on the screen there?
Yeah.
What do you recognize it as?
That was the note under his keyboard that he was referring to in the first text of that chain.
Okay, so where did you find this?
On his desk underneath his computer keyboard.
And I assume you read it.
Yeah.
And then what did you do with it after you read it?
I believe I just put it back down on the desk after I took a picture of it.
Okay. And again, the time you read it was probably around 11 o'clock or so on the 10th.
Yes.
The night of September 10th.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And did you ever see that again after you placed it back on his desk?
No, I don't think I did.
And that was a desk in his bedroom?
Yes.
And that's a separate bedroom than your bedroom?
Yeah.
I now want to go to what's been titled 16.2. And do you recognize this series of messages here?
Yeah, that was the server of his friend that I was mentioning.
Okay, and this is your phone again?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you recognize it because the big crack up at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a server. Is this Discord?
Yeah, this is Discord.
And who are members of this server? I don't want names, just generally. Who are these people?
This is his friend group. They played D&D together every week.
Okay. And I just want to scroll through this to make sure that you get a chance to take a look at it. Or go to the next page.
Mm-hmm. Or yes.
So Tyler Icom, who's that?
That's Tyler Robinson.
And these other people are just others that are members of the server?
Yes.
Jug, Barnaby, Marina, DM.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, DM means Dungeon Master. So these are most of them are names they're using in the game they're playing currently.
Got it. Yeah, it looks like the last text from Tyler looks like it's 8 p.m. And do you know what day this would have been? 8 p.m. on the 10th or the 11th?
I would think that would be the 11th. Because at least I think so, because I don't think on the 10th that he messaged anyone before me at 11. So.
And he turned himself in on the 11th, right?
I thought so, yeah.
So again, we're just going to go through this so that we have a record of the messages. Is that an accurate recording of that thread?
To my knowledge, yes.
And that was sent, looks like between September 10th and September 12th. Looks like the last day on this is September 12th. Screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so again, those messages covered from September 10th to the evening of September 11th. Now, September 11th, what time did you see Tyler on September 11th?
Yes.
When did you first see him on September 11th? So this is the day after the shooting?
Yeah, I saw him when I woke up. Like I said, he was up and around doing a lot of stuff around the house. And then I think I saw him after that message where I said I'll come home and say I'm doing laundry, because I didn't want him going to my parents' house right then when he said there was probably cops outside. So I went back home, and it was just him there, and I said bye to him, and then he drove off. So I just went back to my parents' house.
So he acted erratically. Was he pacing? Was he just sitting down, relaxing?
No, he was walking around a lot.
Right, and that's within the home?
Mm-hmm.
And did he talk about what he had done?
Didn't go into detail. I just asked him in person if what he said was true the night before, and he said it was. He started crying a little bit and said he wishes he hadn't done it, and then kept going around and just doing stuff, I think, to keep himself busy or distracted or something.
Okay. Did he talk about what he was going to do next?
And then eventually said that he would talk to his parents or turn himself over.
Okay. And when you left, was that how you left, understanding that he was going to turn himself in or go to his parents' house?
Yeah, and I didn't really want to be at our apartment while any of that was happening, regardless of what went down.
Okay. Okay, before he came home, had you seen the press releases, any of the media on this?
I'd seen one Instagram link a friend of mine had sent in our group chat,
Okay.
but I hadn't really looked into it at all.
And had you seen the images that were released of the suspect?
I did the next day. I don't think I saw any on the 10th.
I'm going to show you a couple of those images. Okay, I'm on the FBI's website. You can see the URL there at the top. This is some press release about this event. And here on the screen, you see these, looks like there's 2 rows of 3 images.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recognize the person in these images?
I wouldn't say it with 100% certainty just because of camera quality, but that looks like him in terms of the shoes he's wearing, the sunglasses. I don't think I'd specifically seen him wearing that hat, but he was usually wearing a hat, and then jeans. So it definitely, especially the bottom, the last 2, definitely do look like him. They do look like Tyler Robinson.
And you talked about that with your friends, right? This is like him.
Yeah, his friends. Yeah, I don't know if I don't remember if I talked about it with any of my friends. And then since I didn't have my phone after that for a while, and I still am not using social media, I don't know on my friends' end.
Okay. All right, I want to back up a little bit now. We've talked about September 10th, but let me get a little bit of context here. So, did you game with Tyler?
Yeah.
What kind of games?
We played some just kind of party games together, like anything that would be multiplayer with a group of friends. There was one game he really liked called Sea of Thieves, where you play as like a pirate, and you can fight against people, but most of it's just like fishing, fighting sharks, skeletons kind of stuff. We played some co-op games where it's like you both have to work together to win in whatever way. Way back when I was just out of high school, when I first knew him online, we played some shooting games together, but I didn't know him very well, so that was just when we had a whole friend group on to play, and he was someone that my friends invited.
Okay. Did you and he ever talk about politics?
He did more than me. I don't really keep up with politics very much. He'd usually talk about stuff he heard on the radio on his drive to work in like their work car, since it sounds like their whole crew went in the same car most of the time. But I wouldn't say super consistently, because it wasn't a topic I really contributed much on.
What about Charlie Kirk? Did you ever talk about Charlie Kirk?
I personally had never heard him talk about Charlie Kirk before specifically.
Okay. How about political issues? So did you ever talk about gender identity issues and LGBTQ rights?
No, not really. Usually if he did talk about politics stuff, it was relating to Trump or current like policies being like issued or voted on, I think. But yeah.
Okay, so before that you have been?
For a short time, yes.
Okay. And I understand you're going by Luna at some point?
To some people, yeah, but not as an overall thing. Sure.
Okay. Okay, I think that's all the questions I have for this portion. Let me check and see if I've missed anything. Okay. The Dremel that you talked about, you said he had asked for that, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And had he told you it was to inscribe bullets?
Yeah.
And so did you have a Dremel then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in our, like, our apartment, we had a section where we kept all our, like, random tools for household stuff in our, like, lower basement level pantry. So, yeah.
Okay. And did you give that to him or tell him where it was?
I just told him where it was, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording for the 1102 purposes.
All right, that concludes State's Exhibit 16. Ms. Hunt.
Thank you, Judge. Agent Davis, I asked you yesterday, but I want to remind the court and those present. Were you physically present at the interview we just watched in State's Exhibit 16?
Yes, I was there.
And aside from the court-ordered redactions, did it appear to you to be fair and accurate about what you remember that interview that day?
Yes. Yes, I do.
During that interview, did Mr. Twiggs, was he shown or referenced certain items of evidence?
Yes, he was.
What types of items of evidence was he shown?
It was the text messages between himself and Tyler Robinson, a Discord chat messages, and a handwritten note.
And then we also saw in the video he was also shown the FBI press release photos of the potential suspect.
That's correct, yes.
Have you reviewed all of those items as part of the investigation?
Yes, I have.
You're familiar with them?
Yes.
All right, I want to put just on the witness's screen what's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit 16.1. And for the record, this includes the edit that the one edit that the court has previously ordered.
Thank you.
Let me know when you see that on your screen.
I see it. I see it now.
Do you recognize this?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
This is a photograph of screenshots of text messages between Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs. This is a photograph of Lance's phone.
So sorry, you said photograph, you also said screenshot. Can you differentiate or clarify there?
Sorry. These are photographs directly from Lance's phone.
How do you know that?
In Lance's first interview, he's showing the FBI agents these text messages, describes them to the agents, and at that time, his phone was photographed.
And you testified, I believe yesterday, that Mr. Twiggs' first interview was the morning of September 12th, 2025. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Were you physically present at that interview?
No, I was not there.
Have you spoken with the officers or agents that were?
Yes, I've spoken to one of those agents that was there.
And you stated that first September 12th interview of Mr. Twiggs was recorded?
Yes, audio, video recorded.
Have you reviewed that recording?
Yes, I have.
So you stated that we're looking
in State's Exhibit 16.1 at a picture of Mr. Twiggs' phone.
Yes.
Do you know who took these photos?
Yes, it was Agent Larson with FBI.
Did you speak with Agent Larson and confirm that?
I did.
And you kind of made reference to this already, but how did Mr. Twiggs initially show law enforcement the relevant text messages?
Yeah, during that first interview on September 12th, he physically, he shows them the phone and then allows them to photograph the phone.
And does he identify it as his phone in that interview?
Yes, he does.
Does he refer to any particular features of the phone that allows him to make that identification?
I believe the second interview, he refers to the large crack in the upper left screen. That so he identifies that from his second interview that was given on April 20th.
And according to your review of the recording of his first interview and in speaking with the agents that were there, did he have his personal phone with him at the time of the September 12th interview?
Yes, he did.
And was this same text thread that we're seeing in State's Exhibit 16.1 shown to him during his second interview sorry, let me get the date right, April 20th, 2026 at the Utah County Attorney's Office that we just observed part of in State's Exhibit 16?
Yes, it was shown to him.
Was he asked how Tyler Robinson is saved in his phone, like as a contact?
Yeah, just as Tyler.
Without saying it, obviously, did he identify Tyler Robinson's phone number?
Yes, he did.
Did you check the number that Mr. Twiggs gave as Tyler Robinson's phone number against law enforcement records?
Yes, I did.
And do they match?
Yes, they match.
Is State's Exhibit 16.1 a fair and accurate representation of the text thread between, or the relevant text thread between Mr. Twiggs and Mr. Robinson?
Yes, it is.
As part of the investigation, was a Cellbrite extraction performed on Mr. Twiggs' phone?
Yes, it was.
Did you personally review that extraction?
Yes, I have.
And according to that extraction, did Mr. Robinson and Mr. Twiggs exchange text messages on September 10th through 11th, 2025?
Yes, they did.
What time was that first text sent according to the Cellbrite extraction?
The first text was September 10th at 11 p.m.
All right, Judge, I would move to admit State's Exhibit 16.1, and then pursuant to court order, I would move to publish it to the monitors.
Mr. Novak.
We have no further objections beyond those that the court, of course, is very familiar with at this point in time.
All right, I'll note the standing objections made by defense. Those objections are overruled. This 16.1 is admitted into evidence and may be published to the gallery as well as electronically distributed through the camera.
All right, Agent, I'm not going to go through every single message, but I do want to have you read aloud certain portions of them. And I apologize to counsel, these are not actually given a page number. I have page numbers, but I'm happy to confer that we're on the same page as we go. So here we're looking at page 1 of State's Exhibit 16.1. If you could read a little more than halfway down where it begins Wednesday, 11 p.m., will you start reading underneath that?
Yes. So this would have been from Tyler. It says, drop what you're doing, look under your keyboard.
And I apologize, let me stop you there. How do you know that that message would have been from Tyler Robinson?
That's just, so any of the messages in gray would be from Tyler, and messages in blue would be from Lance. It's just the way the iPhone distinguishes the messages. And also Lance in his interview also acknowledges that, who was saying what.
And up at the top, who do we see that this thread is between?
Tyler.
All right, sorry to interrupt you. So read that again, starting from look under the keyboard.
So after that, then Lance responds, he says, what? And then he says, you're joking, right? And then Tyler says, fuck, I tried to delete that.
If we could scroll down to page 2. And if you can continue reading along.
Okay. And Tyler says, I'm still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. And then Lance replies, you weren't the one who did it, right? And Tyler says, I am, I'm sorry. Lance says, I thought they caught the person. And then Tyler says, no, they grabbed some crazy old dude and interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from the drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering.
We could scroll down to page 3, continue reading.
Lance says, why? And Tyler says, why did I do it? And Lance says, yeah. Tyler says, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything in the news about them finding it. We'll update you shortly, or sorry, we'll update you by midnight. And then Lance says, all right, stay safe. How long have you been planning this?
Scroll down a little bit, please, Kimberly.
And Tyler replies, a bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it.
We can scroll down to page 4 and continue reading about halfway down. I'll stop you about halfway down.
It says, while they were spot, but I don't want to chance it while they were parked there. If they'd found it, I imagine there would be more commotion. Again, I'm sorry for roping you into all of this. You shouldn't have to worry about this. And Lance replies, does anyone else know? Tyler says, not to my knowledge.
All right, I'll stop you there. Let's move to page 5. So this should be page 4, so just scroll down 1, please, Kimberly. And if you could read starting, sorry, Kimberly, scroll a bit more down. If you could read, I don't know, about a 1/3 of the way up that starts with guess.
Okay. Tyler says, guess I'm just sitting in my car watching reels for another hour, hoping this guy fucks off.
And continue.
And Lance says, are you okay still? And Tyler says, yes, check and spot again now. Will.
Sorry, now we're on page 6. Continue reading.
We'll update soon. He continues, the squad car was moved further away enough that I should be able to move in. I backed off because I thought I heard footsteps, maybe a foot patrol, but the crickets here are so fucking loud. Gonna see if the road closer to campus is open so I can drive past and check shit out. Probably still closed off though. Getting worried, hard to know for sure, but I'm not finding my rifle. Could be in the wrong spot. Lance says, do you think they found it? And Tyler says, dunno, they haven't published anything if they have. And then Lance says, why did you leave it behind?
Oh, sorry, Kimberly, if you could scroll down.
Originally. Also, does it have a serial number?
We could scroll to page 7. And I'll continue reading. I'll stop you on this page in a little bit.
Okay. So Tyler continues, IDEK, if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me, I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits, didn't have the ability or time to bring it with.
And stop there, please. And then if we could go to the next page, page 8. And if you could start at the top.
Okay, so Lance says, was your change of clothes there or was that also gone? Or did you bring those with you originally? Anyway, you could replace the gun or would he notice? Then Tyler says, only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. I'll bet that canine sniffed it out. Little snitching bastard. Replace it unlikely. I don't fully know what the gun was because it was old as shit and Gramps did some modifying. There was a 4-digit serial on it. God only knows who it's registered to. Hopefully some dead guy who gave it to Grandpa. And he continues, remember how I was engraving bullets? The fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke.
And then continue. I'll stop you in a moment.
He says, all right, I'm going to have to leave it. That really fucking sucks.
Let me stop you there. And then if we could go on to the next page, page 9. And do you see the first blue message we see on page 9? Can you start there?
Yes. So Lance says, do you need it for hunting? And Tyler says, no, my dad wanted to use a high caliber for the rifle hunt. Judging from today, I say Gramps' gun does just fine. IDK. I think that was a 2K scope. Lance says, geez. And then Tyler says, OMW, home, 3.5 hours. Lance says, drive safe. And then Tyler says, delete this exchange.
And I'll stop you right there. And then, sorry, we're on page 9. If we can scroll to page 15. And then the second grade message on page 15, if you could start there.
Okay. So this is Tyler. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. We hope to keep things sort of quiet here.
And then I'll stop you there.
Okay.
And we can remove the exhibit from the screen. Thank you, Kimberly. We mentioned a Cellbrite extraction of Mr. Twiggs' phone. Do you know what time that last text was sent?
Yeah, I recall it was just before 8 p.m. on September 11th. It was, I think, 7:42 p.m. is my recollection.
I'm sorry, September 11th?
Yes.
Would September 12th make sense, or you're saying September 11th?
So September 11th was when he turned himself in. It would have
Okay.
been September 11th, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to show just for the witness, State's Exhibit 16.2. Let me know when you see that.
Okay, I see it.
Do you recognize this?
I do, yep.
What is it?
This is just more photos of Lance's phone. And
How
these
do you-
are, these are sorry, how to bring, sorry, go with your question, please.
I'm just asking what it is. So you said it's a photo of Lance's phone. Do you know if that's from the same time period as the exhibit we just looked at?
Yes.
And what is it of?
These are the Discord messages of, that Lance had talked about.
How do you know that?
So Lance, in the first interview with FBI, shows the phone. The photos are taken by Agent Larson, and then these images are shown to Lance during a second interview, and he confirms that these are those same messages, and this is photos of Lance's phone.
You mentioned an Agent Larson took the photos. Do you know if he's the same agent that took the photos of this exhibit, 16.2?
Yes, same agent.
And you spoke with him to confirm that?
Yes, I did.
Are you aware if Mr. Twiggs is actually part of this Discord thread?
Yes, he is a part of it. He doesn't, in this section, he doesn't reply to it, but he does state in his statement that he was part of that thread.
Does he identify whether Mr. Robinson is part of that thread?
He does.
And when did that happen?
He identifies that in his first interview with the two FBI agents, and then he again confirms that in his second interview.
Did Mr. Twiggs say what username on Discord Mr. Robinson used, at least with respect to this thread?
Yes, it's the Tyler/Icum, IKUM.
And is Exhibit 16.2 a fair and accurate representation of that Discord thread?
Yes, it is.
Did law enforcement send, as part of your investigation, did law enforcement send a subpoena to Discord?
Yes, they did.
Were these messages recovered via that subpoena?
They were.
Did you review that?
Yes, I did.
And in State's Exhibit 16.2 that is before you, when is the first message from Tyler sent?
7:57 p.m.
And it says yesterday. Do you have any knowledge of what day that would have been?
Yes, this would have been September 11th.
So Tyler sends the first message that you're seeing on Exhibit 16.2, September 11th at 7:57 p.m.
Yes, that's correct.
You testified earlier that Mr. Robinson arrived at the Washington County Sheriff's Office approximately at 9 p.m., is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And although you weren't physically present there yet because you were flying down, how do you know that he arrived approximately around 9 p.m.?
Just based on the police reports I reviewed and then go back and look at the video and such.
Judge, the state moves to admit State's Exhibit 16.2 and publish it pursuant to court order.
Mr. Novak.
Thank you, Your Honor. We've already lodged all of our objections on all three phases.
All right. Noting the objections, standing objections by defense. State's Exhibit 16.2 is admitted into evidence and may be published only in the gallery, not for distribution on electronic media.
I see it.
Do you recognize this?
I do.
What is this?
This is a handwritten note or letter from Tyler to Lance.
How do you know that?
In Lance's first interview with FBI, he tells them about this letter note he found under Tyler's keyboard per a text message he received. He states from 11 p.m. on September 10th. And so at that point, Lance finds this. This is the letter he finds under that keyboard.
Okay, so to clarify, Mr. Twiggs gets a text from Mr. Robinson around 11 p.m. on September 10th, telling him to look under his keyboard.
Yes, correct.
And this is what Mr. Twiggs represented was underneath the keyboard.
Yes, yes.
How did law enforcement get this photograph?
So following Lance's first interview at St. George PD, his phone is recovered at that point, taken into evidence. It is downloaded, I believe it was the following day or shortly after that. The FBI transported that phone to the RCFL, which is the Regional Computer Forensic Laboratory in Salt Lake City. The phone was downloaded through Celebrite, and after that, following that download was complete, SBI received a flash drive containing that download. From there, it went to a SIAC analyst to go through that data of his phone to look for any pertinent evidence or information that may be on there. And at that point, that this image of this letter was located.
All right, I'm going to break down a few things. You mentioned, I just want to make sure the record's clear. You mentioned Celebrite a few times. What is Celebrite?
It's a downloading software that's commonly used by law enforcement. I don't do that myself, but it's commonly used to recover data, to download electronic devices, particularly cell phones.
And then you mentioned SIAC. What does that mean?
It's the Statewide Information Analysis Center. It's a division within DPS. It's a fusion center. They assist law enforcement with intelligence, various intelligence information for our investigations.
You mentioned that you don't personally do Celebrite phone extractions. Have you spoken to the law enforcement officers that performed the Celebrite extraction on Mr. Twiggs' phone in this case?
I don't believe I specifically talked to those individuals, the RCFL, that did that. But they, yeah, that was then provided to SBI.
Did you speak with officers at SBI that have recovered this photo that we're seeing in State's Exhibit 16.3?
Yes, I have spoken with an SIAC analyst who in particular found this image. I've spoken to her personally as well.
Was Mr. Twiggs shown what's been marked as State's Exhibit 16.3 during his second interview?
Yes, he was.
And again, you were present for that?
Yes, I was there.
Is Exhibit 16.3 a fair and accurate representation of the photo law enforcement obtained from Mr. Twiggs' phone and that he was subsequently shown in the second interview?
Yes, it's fair and accurate.
Your Honor, the state would move to admit Exhibit 16.3 and then also publish pursuant to court order.
Mr. Novak.
Just noting the objections that have previously been made, and I think that the court's order is that it may be published in the courtroom only.
Thank you. Noting the standing objection by defense, 16.3, correct?
Correct.
is admitted into evidence and may be published only in the courtroom and not be shown or videoed?
I do.
What is it?
These are the images that the FBI released to the public. That would have been on September 11th when those were released. And this was, those were those images that went public of the suspected EVU shooting suspect.
How do you know that?
I've viewed the FBI's website, and I recall seeing these images released on September 11th.
Does State's Exhibit 16.4, is that a fair and accurate representation of what you reviewed from the FBI and that the FBI released?
Yes, it is.
The state moves to admit Exhibit 16.4 and publish according to court order.
Mr. Novak?
No further objections, thank you.
All right, noting the standing objection by defense, overruling that objection, State's Exhibit 16.4 is admitted into evidence and may be published in the courtroom.
And again, in the Discord,
As it relates to 5.1, the court previously, the day that I did it, I believe it was day 2, perhaps,
that sounds correct.
the court provisionally admitted it, contingent on additional foundation being laid, whether through testimony or through evidence. And the court notes that such foundation and testimony has been laid in order for the foundation to be laid for 5.1 to be admitted into evidence for full consideration by this court. And so that is received. As it relates to publication and taking in consideration the argument by Mr. Novak, well, first noting the objection, the standing objections by defense, that is overruled as it relates to the admission to 5.1. But going to the publication, the court understands the argument made by defense that this is going toward perhaps religion, and that the enhancement, and let me just read that from the information, victim targeting enhancement in violation of Utah Code annotated 76-3-203.14 sub 2. Tyler James Robinson intentionally selected Charlie Kirk because Tyler James Robinson's belief or perception regarding Charlie Kirk's political expression, and that was also noted as an enhancement for count 2 and count 7. The court is not going to engage, the court can weigh how this is applied, but it finds it relevant, how it relates to the enhancement is for the court to weigh as it looks at the bind-over decision, and it's not engaging in that decision-making today, but finds that it is relevant, it is admissible to the court, and is publishable to the gallery as well as to the public. And so if the state wishes to publish State's Exhibit 5.1, it may do so at this time.
Thank you. Yes, we do. And Kimberly, I don't know if we want to use the same kind of slow scrolling. Thank you. All right, I believe that should be sufficient. And Agent Davis, I apologize. I'm going to take you very briefly back to State's Exhibit 16.1, which is the text thread between Mr. Robinson and Mr. Twiggs. Kimberly, if you could turn to page 17. And because this has already been admitted and, court, correct me if I'm wrong, published not only to the gallery but to cameras at large, I'd ask that it be displayed in that fashion again.
All right. Any input from any other party on that request?
No.
All right, thank you. It may be published, and the media may pick this up as well.
Agent Davis, if I can direct you to the very last message on that page, starting with "if any," if you could read that out loud.
Okay. This is Tyler. He says, if any police ask you questions, sorry, let me start over. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. My lawyer should be Doug Terry. I'll see if he can reach out to you and make sure the police follow.
Okay, thank you. That's all I need from that exhibit. And then finally, Agent Davis, you testified before that you flew down to Washington County Sheriff's Office and observed Tyler Robinson there, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
You got his name there.
Yes.
You stated that you transported or assisted transporting him up to Utah County Jail.
Yes.
And that you were the booking officer.
That's correct.
Do you recognize Tyler Robinson here in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
If you could point him out and briefly describe something that he's wearing.
He's an individual seated at the defendant's table in the center chair with a gray suit coat and a green tie.
Your Honor, if record could reflect identification of the defendant.
Counsel?
No, Judge.
All right. I'll note for the purposes of this hearing only that Agent Davis has identified Mr. Robinson in court. Thank you.
And Judge, if I can just have a moment.
You may.
Ready to pass the witness, thank you. And I don't know if now would be a good time for lunch.
All right.
Based on the testimonies and evidence presented during the preliminary hearing, the judge will decide whether there is sufficient probable cause for the criminal case to move forward.